यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम. No. I think I've started believing that books get wings. They do fly away. This gives me a belief that books get wings. They fly away somewhere. How they go, it's a surprising. Okay. Yeah. So some shloka I speak today. I think 31st and 32nd I repeat. Whether I spoke or not, I don't remember. Anyway. Yajnashishtamrutabhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. Earlier he told, I think if the book changes, it becomes very difficult. There is some other book. Let me, just a minute. यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजः शांति यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम. So he has discussed. Today is Sunday, so we are discussing Gita. One was Brahma Yajna, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, and that was the main yajna. For a jnani, everything is Brahman alone. And then the other yajnas for sadhakas. So he described various yajnas. At the end of these yajnas, he says, Yajna shishtamruta bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. A person follows some of these yajnas, at least one or many. Some yajna he follows, because yajna is not a simple event, it is a life. Yajna involves particularly karma yoga type yajna. A relationship of oneself with Bhagavan. A respecting, a loving, a devoted relationship. Me, my life events, I relate to Bhagavan. So this is the basic principles in all yajnas. So one more thing is, mind is generally turned towards the sense objects. So the negative points are removed. The positive point is devotion to Bhagavan. Negative point is one is attached to sense pleasures, one is egoistic. the attachment to sense pleasures and the ego has to be melt away. One has to melt away this attachment, what you call the dependency and the worldly pleasures. Second is melting the ego, so you become humble and simple person. And there is a bhakti, devotion to Bhagavan. So this is what called, this is the basic principle in any yajna. Various yajnas that are talked about only shows the various ways of relating to God. If you compare it with these monotheistic religions, it is not that God alone is one God. In their religions, God is one is different from when we say in Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, God is one, it is different. So not only in their religion, not only God is one, how to relate to Him, how to pray to Him, how to be devoted to Him, how to serve Him, there also there is a difference. First, let me talk of God. When they say one God, it is a one unit God. In our Sanatana Dharma, one is not a single one. It is not a numerical one. One means the wholeness one. When we say God is one, we mean the wholeness is not a small part. We mean God is not a part. Any small thing, He is a whole one. Okay? WHOLE, whole one. In this sense, we mean one God. For them, one is among the many things, one factor is God, and there are many other factors, there are many other gods. Okay, many other gods which are competitive gods called Satan. Okay, in their religions, God is one unit, is one among the many objects in the world. That's why He lives in one place in heaven alone, and He sees many other things, and He says, I am located in one place, one time, and one. See, he is located in one place. He lives in one area. He has got a fixed taste. However they talk of one and all that, Hindus are also becoming superficial like Europeans. Superficial in the sense they are not going deep into spirituality. Europeans talk so superficially about religion, one God, all this thing, it looks childish. It's so boring to listen to their. In fact, reading European books on religion is so boring. Bible is the most boring book, and Quran is a barbaric book. Bible is a boring book, Quran is a barbaric, because there is nothing in it. No human being ever should read it. It's a poison. Both the books are poisons. But anyway, so they talk of so much, it looks so childish, so superficial. Now when we say, what is God? There is no thinking, there is no trying to understand. It's just a superficially use word and take it for granted and keep on repeating it. It all looks politics. It goes better with their political life. Okay? So when we say God, their description, the way they talk about Him, their religions talk out of Him like a person having a personal likes and dislikes. He has got personal ego, and he has got a personal body, personal interest, and a place, and he lives in a place, and he has got enemies, he has got friends and enemies. He is just a worst human being on the earth. If there is a worst human being on the earth, that is the biblical God and a monotheistic God. Okay. No, it is not an accusation, it is not a hatred. I say, this is what simple fact. You can just see them. That's what they talk of it. So God is not a given being like a human being, have an individuality and then is different from others. This is what they call. When we say one God, it is the wholeness which includes the world, 5 elements, human beings, animals, plants, and that planets, and the whole thing is included. It becomes a one whole, we call it. In this sense, we mean one God. God is not one part. God is not one individual, because one individual gets related to another individual. Because if he is an individual, he is located in time and place. He has got a particular nature, particular likes and dislikes, particular behavior, particular interests, tastes, thoughts and ideas. Now, when we say Sanatana Dharma says God is not in fact, that's why we hate to use the word God. When we say Bhagavan or Ishvara or Parameshwara, he is not a one entity. He is like a space. Supposing you talk of a space. Is space one person? When you talk of a space, space is something, it is all inclusive. It includes you and me and the world and the planets and animals and everything. And there is nothing which is outside space. Everything is included in space. Similarly, Ishvara is a whole, all-pervasive entity which includes you and I. Each includes everything. And nothing is away from him, nothing is separate from him. In this sense, he is the whole one Ishvara. And without having a clear understanding of what is Ishvara, what is God, people talk too much about what is God, what is God. They don't talk what is God. They just take it for granted and keep on talking. People talk too much about God without what is God first. That they don't want it. First talk of God. Oh, this made them madcaps. The Freud's psychology exactly fits into these two people. Followers of these two religions, the prophets of these two religions are perfect Freud cases. Okay. Therefore, first, the sense control, the control of the mind. Mind means let emotions not run wild and impulsive. Let person is not impulsive. Let sense organs be under control. Let emotions be under control. Let intellect be open. Okay? Any addiction, any attachment, addiction to pleasure, addiction to anything, any emotional attachment or addiction makes the mind incapable of thinking and understanding. Okay? Therefore, this basic purification of the personality is most important in any school of philosophy in Hinduism. In any school of philosophy, any spiritual sadhana, any simple to live as a human being, this basic purification of the mind, having a good personality is a basic step, essential step. Okay. Otherwise, nothing can be discussed. Now you contrast with those religions. They don't think of first how to understand Bhagavan, how to understand religion, how to practice, and who is the one practicing. All that is immaterial. Take for granted and talk. In fact, more you are barbaric, more you can be a good follower of such religions. More animal you are, you can be a best follower of such religions. So first, making a human being. In Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, we say first let me a good human being. Who is a good? He is not animal. One who is not animal. Who is an animal? An impulsive, addicted to pleasures, an impulsive person, emotionally attached and thoughtless. This is animal. I don't think at all. Take certain things for granted and follow, like an automaton. Now the basic purity of personality is important. That's why in all our Shastras, as much you teach Vedanta, the truth, so much you teach sadhanas also. The values, purification of mind, freedom of the mind being free from emotions, free from thoughts, free from impressions. Mind has to be free to be able to understand the fact as it is. This freedom, this purity is emphasized. It is routinely taught. Any disciple, any common man, first when he is born, he starts with these values and discipline, this first thing. When you go to Guru, first he talks of this personality correction, making your personality pure and simple, because life itself creates a problem, because you get addicted. That addictions, attachments, you have to come out of it. And you have to be very free from insecurity, free and relaxed. Such a person is open and ready to understand and see the fact as it is. Okay, therefore, a yajna. Therefore, what is yajna? Yajna is not one particular action of your life. Your life is yajna. See, it is not one event or one action. Your very living is yajna. Life itself should become a yajna. The whole life itself is a yajna. Yajna is a devoted, a loving devotion, a loving service. Therefore, so the relationship with Bhagavan is yajna. Therefore, for Hindus, it is easy to explain. Relationship with God, that's all. This one word explains what is yajna. Yajna is worship of God, worship of Bhagavan. Once you say yajna is worship of Bhagavan, then it is easy to understand. Because once the idea of Bhagavan is clear, he is beyond all human limitations, beyond all animal limitations. He is definitely more than that. Even the most wickedest person in India knows Bhagavan can't be as wicked as me. I am talking on behalf of that wickedest person. Even the wickedest person, a villain, also knows Bhagavan is much beyond me. He is not like me. He is not an animalistic, cruel like me. So even if he commits crime, he understands what is Bhagavan. Okay? Therefore, once we say prayer to God, prayer to Bhagavan, in those days it was easy. Yajna means worship of God. This is how we explain to Hindus. But when I have to talk to the world as a large, I mean the world all over, then the Europe and America, West and all that influence, European culture, God's influence is there. Then I have to interpret whole thing differently. That's why when I speak in English, my whole explanation, whole teaching changes. When I speak in Indian languages, it changes, totally changes. Because we assume the Indian background, Indian mind, Indian thinking, certain basic values. Nowadays, our modern educated boys and girls are also becoming like Europeans alone. Our modern education is European making education. So de-Indianizing is our education. So educated man, that means in North India they would say the same thing. Any Babuji. Babu means what? Babuji, you know the word English word gentleman in North India is considered as any English educated man is a gentleman. They pronounce North Indians slightly differently. Gentleman, they pronounce. Gentleman means English educated man who is de-Indianized, and who cannot appreciate, who is totally conditioned by European thinking, is called a gentleman in North India. Gentleman. So we can't speak straight away to people because every concept is perverted. The very idea of God, the idea of worship, ideas of prayer, the religion, every word is distorted. The religion is a political idea. Prayer is another mental case. And then God is a most worst fellow on the earth. Now this is what those biblical God or Quranic God has got. Now, when we have to explain Gita, whole thing we have to explain, it becomes a big lecture. So otherwise, yajna means the very simple devotion to God. Itself includes values and simplicity and egolessness, openness, logical thinking, all that, and also de-addicted. That means you transcend, you control your sense organs and mind. All this is included in your idea of bhakti to Bhagavan. Okay. I think most of you already know it. I don't have to talk more about these things. So this much we say. Now he says, God in that Abrahamic religions, God is one particular fixed concept, fixed idea. He has got his own peculiar nature of egoistic and pervert nature. And he also orders only one way. This is the only one way you have to do it. But here, when he is all pervasive, it is not one or two or anything. It is ultimately you purify your mind, that is important. So whatever way, there can be any number of ways. Now you see, we have discussed 12 yajnas. 12 yajnas mean 12 ways of relating to God. It is the relation that is important. What are the ways? You can have any number of ways, so what? God is interested, Bhagavan is interested in your devotion, in your heart. That's why we always say, Bhagavan looks at your heart, not how you express that. The language may differ, words may differ, your concept may differ, but your inner heart is important. That's why even if a person has certain wrong thinking, wrong concept of God, we didn't take seriously. That's why we don't have a blasphemy, we don't have heresy. Because heresy means what? You interpret differently, so what? As long as your mind is pure, your prayer is good, your devotion is good, you go ahead, in future you will understand. See, while we are trying to understand Bhagavan, at each stage we understand Bhagavan according to our capacity of mind. Mind is too simple, too ignorant, therefore you understand God in some manner. But think of him something noble, something high, something great. This much is basic. God cannot be wicked, is not like a human being, is not an animal, is not barbaric. This much is a basic thing. Keep this basic thing and go ahead. You may not know what Ishvara is, what Bhagavan is and how is it. Doesn't matter. Keep your noblest feelings, good feelings, sincerity and noble feelings. Keep on praying and keep on continuing. Praying means being related to Ishvara from your heart. All your life events and activities, thoughts and expressions, every expression of your life should be related to Ishvara. Okay. Then as you move ahead, as you purify yourself, you start feeling God much differently, much deeply. Your understanding of God also improves. As you go ahead, it improves. Therefore, we don't condition God is this. Hey, you can't say this. This particular, God is this much only. God is only this. Because the fixation only conditions you. Therefore, we keep it tentative. The nature of God is tentative. That He is there, everything noble, everything good and great is God. Now you keep moving. As you move, you start more and more relate to Him. In your relationship becomes more purer. Your relation becomes purer, your heart becomes purer, your thoughts, your actions, your behavior, everything becomes purer and purer. Not conditioned, okay? If somebody thinks of the same Bhagavan differently, we also appreciate, oh, how great God is that He is helping another man in a different way. This shows God's multifacetedness, okay? Multifacetedness, all pervasive, that He is beyond human mind, that whatever human mind conceives is only one aspect of Him. He has got multiple facets, multiple aspects. Therefore, if another man worships God, we curiously watch in his own way of watching. We see how kind is God, Bhagavan. See, he receives the prayer of this another person also. He receives the worship of this another person in another way also. Oh, in all different worships, we can see God's multifacetedness. Therefore, more and more we see people worshipping differently. More and more we see Ishvara's vastness. He is vast and all pervasive. This is how we look at it. This is how Bhagavad Gita teaches. But for them, what comes easily to these Abrahamic folks is, anything you see different, first call it demon. First call it Satan. Anything different from us is Satan. But how are you sure that what you are doing is God? They only brand. Whatever they are is God. Whatever others, they are Satan. That's all. It is a branding, not understanding. Not looking at the nature of a thing and then understand. No, you just brand it and that's all, nothing. Therefore, these are only branding religions only. These Abrahamic religions are only branding. They first brand it, that's all. They don't look at the quality of the person or an object. You just brand it and then it is it. It is this, that's all. So, they don't appreciate. They say they are the followers of God, worshippers of God. But we Hindus think that if he is a follower of a God, if he is a devotee of God, when he comes to India, he is the first person to appreciate the devotion wherever it is. No. These so-called worshippers, these so-called devotees, don't see any devotion at all. They only see everything evil in others. Their devotion to God is seeing evil in everything else. Oh, this is very strange. Generally, we in India, a devotee sees devotion in others' devotion, others' worship also. He always sees a good quality in others, because the nature of goodness in India is, when we say a good person is a one who sees only good in others, because his good mind is such that he can see always positive in others. A devotee can see only devotion in others. In whatever form he worships, there also he can see some devotion, some form of expression of devotion to God, some expression, some form, some language, whatever symbols are there, we see them. But first thing is, there is no devotion, everybody is evil on the earth, everybody is a sinner, there is only Satan all over the world. Oh my God, is this devotion? Or they are only Satan worship? They brand others as Satans, but they are the biggest Satan on the earth. Biggest Satan on the earth. Because they can't see any God anywhere else. They can't see God at all. They can't see any devotion. They can't see any goodness in others. It's like seeing a baby as a most wicked. See, however wicked or whatever is your, simple example I'll give you. Whatever is your concept of God, your dogma, your doctrine, your ideology, anything. You look at a baby, how do you see? Don't you see a simple innocent baby? Baby doesn't have any concept, any ideology, any dogma, any this thing. Simple baby. Any new person comes and looks at curiously. If you very tender, if you very gently, lovingly talk to the baby, and baby also will trust you and come to you. See, this is the simple thing. Now, do you see any devil or Satan or anything like this? All babies of any, they may know, their parents may be of different language, but baby doesn't know. Baby knows a simple behavior. That's what we say, a simple devotion. The expression may be different, but the devotion is one. God sees that. Bhagavan sees that devotion. Expression may be different. Therefore, there can be any number of expressions. Therefore, there can be any number of yajnas. But there should be yajna, that is important. Yajna is, the life itself should become yajna. It's a very loving relationship. Okay? A wholehearted, a sincere, a selfless relationship is called yajna. So he is giving, just for the people, as a suggestion, he has given a different context, a different situation. In this situation, if you behave this way, if you carry this kind of a feeling, express this way, that is yajna. Okay, the yajna spirit is yajna. Yajna spirit is a selfless, loving relationship, is spirit of yajna. So that wherever there is a spirit of yajna, that becomes yajna, that constitutes yajna. Okay, now he says in this 31st shloka, yajna shishta mrutabhujaha. A person must have some yajna in his life. That means his life itself should become a dedicated, a devoted life to Bhagavan. And your idea of Bhagavan is everything noble, high, great, simple, selfless, and highest and open. If your God himself is barbaric and hateful, intolerant, then all your worship becomes only reinforcing your intolerance, hatred, and all that. Therefore, it is your basically, that's why in any schools in India, different schools of philosophy, different religious traditions, in all of them, the name and form of God may be different. He is a Leela Rupa. We see the God in two levels. One is his original nature. In fact, three levels we have to say. One is Nirguna. Nirguna is all-pervasive Advaitam Brahma. Second is Saguna Rupa. In Saguna, the noblest qualities, highest qualities belong to Ishvara. Then third form is, he comes into a Leela Rupa, like Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Devi, Lalita, Durga. So these are all certain Leela Rupa. Leela means a certain functional forms. You may assume a human form, a particular story, a particular event. So this is a Leela Rupa. So in Leela Rupas alone, one form of God differs from other. But the quality wise, all gods have the same qualities. That means he is only one. And in Nirgunam Brahman, of course, is one, non-dual only. Therefore, the basic nature of Bhagavan remains the same in different tradition, different religions, in different forms of worship. Therefore, he says, Yajna, have some Yajna, but Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha, a person who lives peacefully, happily. He enjoys anything, money, food, clothes, house, anything, even the relational. Even a relationship, friendship with others, any pleasure, any enjoyment, anything you get it, you take this as a gift of God, as a blessing, as a prasada, as an anugraha of Bhagavan. It is a favor of Bhagavan, it is an anugraha of Bhagavan, it is a grace of Bhagavan. Because when you approach in a yajna spirit, Bhagavan comes in his blessing way. Okay? He comes and blesses you. Therefore, every event, every object you get, every relationship, every experience, see it as a gift, as a loving gift, as a loving blessing of Bhagavan, a kind blessing, a graceful blessing of Bhagavan, and you receive it humbly and use it. Okay? Food, clothes, or anything, any small thing you get it. Even a friend's relationship also. You met a friend, it is again a blessing of Ishvara that you happen to meet this person. You get a book or you get something to see. Oh, I am lucky. I have been blessed by Ishvara that I came to this place. I came to Kashi to be able to see Ganga. Even here I see. So in every step of your experience, you see God's blessing in it. This is called Amrita. See, Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha. Here Sri Krishna says, Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha. Bhujaha means one who experiences. A person who enjoys. What? Enjoys Amrita. What is Amrita? As a result of Yajna spirit. As a result of Yajna, whatever you get, that is called Amrita. Yajna Shishta Amrita. Shishta means comes as a result. Okay. What comes as a result of your living a life of yajna. When you live a life of yajna, whatever comes, your experiences, material objects and etc., whatever comes into your life, whatever comes to your experience, that is an Amrita. Amrita means a nectar, given by, lovingly, gifted by, blessed by Bhagavan. And that one when you receive and you experience it, Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. Such a person becomes a purest man, a simple man. Okay? A simple man, pure person can adjust with anybody, see anybody. He doesn't hate anybody, is not intolerant of anything. He sees whole thing is a divine play of Ishvara. Whole universe is only just a loving play of Bhagavan Krishna or Shiva. Shiva Tandava we call it. Shiva is in when he good mood, when he is a happy mood, he plays Tandava. You must have seen Nataraja and Nritya in South Indian, that Chidambaram and all those places. So Shiva is in a very graceful dance, very lovingly, happily he dances. You can see him how he lifts his hand. See, the sculptor also caught the Shiva's dance. You can see him, how he lifts his leg. Even he's lifting his leg, you can see him so spontaneously, so gracefully, as if he's feeling light and happy. There is no pressure. You don't see any pressure in him. You don't see any tension. As you see the Nataraja's dancing posture, he's in a very playfully, very lovingly, happily. Not only he himself is happy and loving, he's sharing his love with all the universe. You can see he lifts his leg so light and comfortable. You don't feel any strain. You see, even to lift my hand, I feel the strain. But you see, there is no strain at all. He's so relaxed and peaceful and happy. He lifts his leg and hands, you see Nataraja's posture. And you can see, look at his face and hands and legs. He's so light, comfortable, happy. See, the sculptor caught that, the heart of Bhagavan behind. See, it requires a good upasana. Even to watch, that's why they become devotees, to be able to sculpt that picture in the stone. Make that sculpture, he has to do upasana. Then he has to catch the Bhagavan's feeling heart behind. And you can see in the picture, he brought it. And as you look at the picture, oh, you forget yourself. You also become so light, free from all tension. Life becomes a beautiful play. Oh, very tensionless play. All tension goes away. Relaxed. No tension, no ego, no pressure, nothing. So that's what it is. Whether Krishna's Leela, Rama, anything you can take it. All Ishvara's, Bhagavan's various forms are only Leelas. Therefore, this way, Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. So you think of Bhagavan in this way. As you think of him, as you relate to him, you also become like Bhagavan. As Bhagavan is very relaxed and happy and egoless and peaceful, and also loving and sharing with the whole universe, as more and more you relate to him, you also become purified and peaceful and happy, free from all tensions and worries and all that. Okay. Therefore, the very yajna is your relatedness to God, relatedness to Bhagavan. The very relatedness makes you very simple, nice man. Like you see baby, how baby relates to people. No thought, no idea, no concept. It spontaneously relates. Spontaneously relates to people. Okay. So that natural, spontaneous relationship is yajna. In fact, baby is in a yajna spirit. You can see baby is in their yajna spirit. We don't need big books. It is understanding that right spirit. Therefore, yajna shishta amrita bhujaha. A person lives his life with a yajna, in a yajna way. Yanti brahma sanatanam. He reaches that eternal Brahman. How? Because the mind becomes emptied of your individuality, ego, and all your dogmas, thoughts and prejudices, limited thinking, narrow thinking, immaturity, all that get erased. When your mind loses away, that means you erase all these things from your mind. Then your animalism goes away. Human also goes away. Then you become much more divine human. Divine human means you merge into Ishvara. You yourself start expressing Ishvara through you. See? It's like a live wire, electric wire. The power current passes through the wire. Wire becomes a vehicle. Through him the current passes. Similarly, you become a vehicle of Bhagavan, vehicle of Ishvara. All divine qualities of gentleness, loving and universal love, all pervasive, all these things express through you. You become a vehicle, like a wire, like the current wire. Okay, the current passes through you. The power, electric power passes through you. Similarly, Ishvara's divine qualities get expressed through you. This is called attaining Bhagavan. Attaining Bhagavan, yanti brahma sanatanam. You attain Bhagavan in this sense. Then what obstructs? In fact, Bhagavan is already pervaded and already He is functioning through every one of us, but we are not aware. When we become conscious, then you become really changed person, and you allow Bhagavan to express through you. You no more remain you are an individual, and your individuality melts away. You become a vehicle, you become an instrument in the hands of Bhagavan. He expresses not only through you, He expresses through everybody. Every plant, animal, insect, human being, everybody. Even good and bad people also you see the expression of Bhagavan. All, even good people, bad people, everybody. Oh. So this is the thing. Therefore, Nayam Lokos Yajnasya. A person who doesn't live his life as a yajna, ayajnaha, ayajna, non-yajna. A person who lives his life as a non-yajna, that means he doesn't live his life as a yajna. He becomes more selfish, intolerant, egoistic, frustrated, all these things. Too petty and selfish, and more all this animalistic. Asura. Ayajnaha. For such a person, neither he lives happily here nor in the next life or in the next loka. Neither in this world nor in the other world. Nayam lokos chayagnyas. Neither this world. Ayam lokaha. Loka is world. Okay? Neither he has neither this world nor the other world. That means he loses the joy of life, the beauty of life, the grace of Bhagavan, the blessing of Bhagavan he loses, and he becomes a problem to himself. He becomes a problem to himself. Okay. Therefore, Nayam lokos chayajnasya kutonyah kurusattama. There is no yajna to him. A person whose life is not a yajna, neither he lives happily here nor in the next world, neither in this world nor in the next world. Okay. Now, this is only a conclusive statement of all these yajnas, how these yajnas are important. They make you a simple person. They purify you, prepare you for ultimate jump of discovering yourself as Brahman. Okay? The discovery of Brahman is a last step. So it prepares you to discover yourself as that universal truth. Because mind has to be prepared. It should become like a mirror. It should just erase all its individuality, become transparent. So what is the purity of mind? Purity means you become transparent. You become ready to become a vehicle of Bhagavan. Bhagavan expresses through you. Or you reflect Bhagavan. Either way. These are all simple examples, illustrations to help you to understand. One illustration is you become a vehicle for God to express through you. Or you become a mirror for Bhagavan to reflect through you. Either you take an example of a reflecting mirror or a vehicle. Anyway, any example is okay. So, when you become a simple, humble, a natural, spontaneous person, it becomes the next step is easy for Jnana Yoga to understand body, mind, sense organs, they are all mithya. Mithya in the sense they are like a dream, and ultimately pure consciousness. Chaitanya, Atma is a non-dual, Atma is one. This is the Jnana Yoga. At another level, it becomes easy to understand. For doing Avastatraya Viveka, to be able to observe your avasthas of waking and dream and deep sleep, and discovering yourself as the truth behind all the three states. This yajnas prepare your mind. Okay. ಈಗ next ಶ್ಲೋಕ 32nd ಶ್ಲೋಕ. Evam bahuvidha yajna vitata brahmano mukhe. See here this also. I already stated, but the shloka says, thus there are many yajnas. That means there are many ways of relating to Bhagavan. It's not one way. Bahuvidha yajna. The very word says bahuvidha yajna. It doesn't say there is only one way. It says evam bahuvidha yajna. Thus there are many ways, many yajnas. Vitata brahmano mukhe. Here Brahma means Veda. Okay. The word Brahma means Veda. Brahmano mukhe. Mukha means from the mouth of Veda. Mouth means teaching. In the teaching of Veda, Veda is not one particular book. Veda is all spiritual knowledge put together is Veda. Okay, that you know it already. I think I don't have to explain. All spiritual knowledge, the Veda, Purana, Bhagavad Gita, Tantra, Smriti. In India, all the spiritual Shastras, all the Adhyatmika Shastra, any Shastra, all of them put together is Veda. Okay, we take in a very broadest sense. Okay, Brahmano mukhe. So in the Veda, all these are disclosed. Evam bahuvida yajnaha. Various yajnas have been disclosed for the various sadhakas. So Veda is not one book, and the yajnas are not one. Okay, and there is no that's why there is not one way of relating it. You can relate in various ways, but let all the relation be very sincere and loving and selfless. As long as your heart is sincere, any relationship is equally good, because it is the sincerity. It is a loving relationship. Therefore, evam bahuvidha yajna. Bahu means many. Vidha, kinds. There are many kinds, many types of yajnas. That means yajna is not of one way. Evam bahuvidha yajna. Vitata brahmano mukhe. From the Veda, in the message of Veda, mukha means it's a teaching. In the teaching of Veda, we find thus various ways of relating. But let there be any one yajna in your life. Okay. Up to this positively. Now he is talking, these yajnas are good. They purify you. They help you to control your mind and senses, emotions. But there is one more thing is required. You have to go into the next step of discovering the truth. Discovering the Atman as nothing but Brahman. That means your Atma is the Atma behind the entire universe. Your Atma is the truth behind the universe. The universe is only an error, a misunderstanding upon the truth. Okay. So therefore, in the 32nd shloka, the second line says, Karmajan vidditan sarvan evam gnatva vimokshase. No, all these various yajnas are conscious attempts. Okay. All these yajnas are a conscious attempt, conscious relationships. That means you have to consciously make an attempt. It is a karma. It is an effort. Consciously you are purifying your negative thoughts, negative feelings, ego, and all those things. Consciously you are changing. You are changing your mind, purifying yourself. Therefore, these are all various processes of purifications. These are all various actions, various deeds. All yajnas are various deeds. Therefore, karmajan vidhitan sarvan. Know all these to be various attempts, various karmas. If you know them, evam gnatva vimokshase. If you know various karmas, you know that this karma helps you to prepare your mind so that you can inquire and discover your real nature as the truth of the universe. Okay, vimokshase. If you prepare yourself, then you will be fit for understanding the truth. Okay. Now in the next 33rd shloka, I just say a little and then stop. Okay, few minutes, 2-3 minutes. Shreyan dravyamayad yajnat jnana yajna parantapa. Now he says, all these, out of these 12 yajnas, one is jnana yajna, remaining 11 are karma yajna. Karma yajna means at the level of sense organ, at the level of the mind, you are trying to change your mind, purifying your mind. All the level yajnas purify. But the 1/12th yajna, 12th means a second, you can let us say. Out of these, in the list, in the sequence, second is a jnana yajna, that is an inquiry into the truth. Now he compares and says, Shreyan dravyamayad yajnat. Compared to these yajnas, these 11 yajnas, Jnana Yajna is better. Better in the sense, you can't compare them, each yajna has its own place. Because the purification of the mind is definitely, control of the mind and purification of the mind is definitely required. So here, Jnana Yajna, when he said Jnana Yajna is better, he means Jnana Yajna is a next step. That is inevitable. Each one has its own place. Other yajnas purify, Jnana Yajna helps you to discover the truth. Falsify the adhyasa. Adhyasa is the avasthas, the misunderstanding. I consider myself to be an individual and I see that there is a world really there. This thought is a misunderstanding of the truth. It is the truth, when misunderstood, is seen as an individual as well as the world. Pramatru prameya, subject and object. The subject-object duality and the experience within the subject-object duality is a misunderstanding of the non-dual truth, okay, which is everybody's self, everybody's Atma. Therefore, this Jnana Yajna helps you to discover the truth and falsify this duality. It falsifies the perception of duality. But the other yajnas, remaining in duality, you prepare your mind, make yourself a purer person. Therefore, compared to other yajnas, Dravya Yajna means yajnas performed with material. Dravya Yajna means material yajna. Okay. Or process yajna. You can say either way. Dravyamaya is material yajna, or how to say that, a kriya rupa yajna. Kriya means an action. Action produces a result, a cause and effect relationship. Okay, it is a producing. So it is a kriya rupa yajna. Compared to this kriya rupa yajna, which brings about a change in you. It is a yajna which brings about an effect in you. But Jnana Yajna is not a changing. It is just a discovering and correcting the error, correcting the misunderstanding. So Jnana Yajna is better because, better in the sense, it is another step. It is a higher step. This step, these other yajnas purify you, prepare you. Jnana Yajna helps you to correct the misunderstanding and discover yourself as Brahman. Because the earlier previous yajnas, all these 11 yajnas which you perform, they all culminate in Jnana Yajna. Sarvam karma kilam partha jnane karisvamapyate. Arjuna, all these various yajnas you follow, the meditations, rituals, service, the devotional service, being values and good life, logical thinking, clear thinking, being a good person, okay, all these purificator values, etc., they all culminate into the discovery of ultimate truth. Sarvam karma akhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. All these karma type of yajnas culminate, parisamapyate, culminate, jnane parisamapyate. That means they come to end. All these sadhanas culminate in that absolute discovery of the absolute truth. Once you discover, all sadhanas come to an end. You are totally free. Jnane parisamapyate. All the karma culminates in jnana. Therefore, jnana is a discovery of truth. There you require a self-enquiry for correcting the misunderstanding. So, two levels of sadhana. One is within Dvaita, where you do all various yajnas and purificatory karma yoga. The other is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga only helps you to discover the truth and solves your problem for good. It corrects your misunderstanding. Okay, 32. Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajnat Jnana Yajna Parantapa. I think we stop with this. Next sloka changes. Then, see, first he told, I'll connect to the previous one. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi was the shloka. In the 24th shloka, he told, Jnani, a Tattvajnani, an enlightened man, and enlightened person understands himself not as an individual. He just corrects his individuality is a misunderstanding. Nobody is an individual. But one takes oneself to be an individual. The sense of individuality is a misperception about yourself who is absolute. You are the absolute truth, the truth of the whole universe, truth of you and me and everybody. So that absolute truth, when misunderstood, you perceive yourself as an individual. So this sense of individuality is a misperception of your real nature, which is the absolute truth. So a jnani, who is an enlightened man who understands it, he understands this truth as, when he understands the truth, for him the whole life is Brahman. That means his whole life is a spontaneous yajna. It is simply described as a yajna. He doesn't perform yajna. His very enlightened state is described as a yajna in the 24th. From the 25th onwards, to show the contrast, he is talking of other yajnas, preparatory yajnas, purificatory yajnas. Now in this 32nd yajna, he says, all these yajnas are useful to purify you. They help you to understand the truth, but they are only preparing you. And all these yajnas culminate in the jnana yajna, and the jnana yajna helps you to understand the truth. There, everything ends. Okay? So what was taught in 24 is connected here in the 33rd shloka. Now the 34th, next shloka changes. He says, okay, you get enlightened, but how do you get that knowledge? How do you get that jnana yoga? How to practice jnana yoga? How do you get it? You have to approach a guru. He says, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. This jnanam, this enlightenment you get from the teaching of guru. You approach a guru and guru teaches you. How to approach a guru and how he teaches, all these things is stated here. And a result of such enlightenment will be stated in the next shloka. Okay, in the 34 and 35. 34 and 35, these two, we shall speak in the next thing. I think we are coming to the end of the chapter. After this, there are only 4 or 5 shlokas. The chapter comes to an end. Maybe in 2 or 3 sessions, we'll conclude the 4th chapter. Maybe, in 4. I think in 4 sessions, we'll conclude the 4th chapter, then we'll go to the 5th. 5th again talk, 5th and 6th talk of more of meditation, Vedantic meditation. I think we will see the 5th and 6th, more of a sannyasa and Vedanta and meditation, Vedantic meditation. It is a contemplation. 5th and 6th chapters, that we'll see later. Okay, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Even now I didn't get my book. Anyway, I hope I'll get in the next week. My Sugama as well as this Gita, two somewhere misplaced.